Today, I'm going to do a presentation about Google for Education. If you would like a copy of this Prezi with all of its links, you can scan this QR code and it will take you directly to a copy of my Prezi that you can download to your computer or to your phone, and you can click the links that I have provided through there. First, I'm going to start with why choose Google for Education. Well, first and foremost, it is free for schools. Your school can become a Google School for free, which includes email for all the students and staff, space in Google Drive, and Google Calendar, where you can invite people and make events for people, and people can follow along with the calendar of your school, class, their own calendar, etc. I think Google is extremely useful for collaboration, for flipped classrooms, like the one I do for my geometry class that I'm going to talk about, sharing online handouts or homework assignments, and so many other things. There are so many Google resources to choose from. A few of the ones that I'm going to talk about are on this page here. But first I'm going to show you a demonstration of a collaboration through Google. Here, students are typing a group science project together. You can see who is typing. You can also see when they type. And the teacher can add comments to the project that all the students can see. This can all be done in real time, where the students are actually working at the same time, or the students can work at different times when they are available to work on the project and still be working on it together. Here are some examples of many other Google apps that can be used for collaboration and many other things. In today's presentation, I will be talking about Google Classroom, Google Drive, Google Docs, Google Forms, which I have personally used, and also some other apps that I researched but have not personally used, including Google Sheets, Slides, and Hangouts. First, I'm going to start with Google Drive. Google Drive is a storage hub for all of your different files. You can use Google Drive to store all the files that you have on your computer. And there's also a part called Shared with Me, where other people can share files with you. This website gives an idea of what Google Drive is and gives you a start on how to use Google Drive. I'm going to show you my Google Drive and how I've organized things on it. I have different files and folders on my Google Drive, plus other separate files that I have created. I can use Google Drive to share those files with other people by going directly to the file or using some other apps that I'm going to show you in this presentation. There's also the Shared with Me place, where people have shared with me different files, and I can go there to quickly see what they've shared. If my Google Drive gets too cluttered, I can go straight to a search and type in the name of the file or the person who shared with me to go directly to that file. Google Classroom is also another Google app that I find very useful. It's a learning management system for your classes. This page talks about what Google Classroom is, and there's a video here that gives a quick introduction to how you can use Google Classroom. Here's an example of a Google class that I made for this presentation. I asked some teachers in my office if they would join as my students for this Google class so I could use this in this presentation. In Google Classroom, you can invite students through email So if your school is a Google Apps school, all of your students' emails will already be in there. You can go through and search. You can type in students' names and search and check them. You can make groups in your contacts in Gmail of your different classes and choose through there. Or you can send your class code and students themselves can go to Google Classroom and type in the code to join your class. I have created an assignment for my students called Angles and Circles. In this assignment, I attached a video that I made about this section in my chapter, note outlines that I made in PDF form so my students can download to their computer, print them out, and write notes on them, a Google Doc worksheet that I created, and each student got a copy of that so that they could type their answers directly into the Google Doc and share them with me as their own copy. And then I have a program called Geometry Sketchpad that my students also have on their computers, and I have created some files for that I used in my investigation. When I go to my assignment, I can see the students that have done my assignment and the students that have not yet done the assignment. When I click on each student, I can see the answers that they put in their assignment underneath the questions that I wrote for the investigation. I can put comments on here so that my student can go directly to their copy and see the comments that I put on there. And then I can also put a grade for their assignment over here. This student also added a comment when she was working on her assignment, and I was emailed that comment. Also in Google Classroom, you can add an assignment with this plus sign right here. You can add a question, create an assignment, or create an announcement. To create an assignment, you need to give it a title, give some instructions if you want to, and set a date and an optional time for it to be due. You can attach files from your computer, as I did with my Geometry Sketchpad files, or you can go directly to your Google Drive and attach files from there, like your videos or the worksheets. So for example, I can attach this video to my assignment, and I can attach the investigation file that goes with that video, and I can make that so that each student gets a copy. When I make that assignment, it shows up in the feed here. The feed is done in chronological order, but if I have an announcement that I want to stay at the top, I can just go ahead and move that to the top to make sure that everybody sees it as the first thing in their feed. Through Google Drive and Google Classroom, there are several other Google apps that you can use. First one I'm going to talk about is Google Docs. Google Docs can be used to make interactive worksheets like the ones that I showed you, or collaborative writing assignments, agendas, group essays, sign-up sheets, etc. This page gives a lot of information about what Google Docs is and different ways that you can use it. I'm going to go to my Google Docs, and at the top you can see a whole bunch of different templates that you can choose from if you have a specific type of Google Doc that you would like to make. You can also make a blank Google Doc and design that any way you want. Here you can see the interactive worksheets that I created and have shared with my students. some quiz bowl questions that the math department and I worked on together for our all-school quiz bowl, and other Google documents that we've shared. Here was a sign-up sheet for my homeroom where we decided what color t-shirt we wanted for our field day. Another app that I use in my classes is called Google Forms. When my students watch a video, I ask them to answer some questions about that video. First, to make sure that they watched the video like they were supposed to, and second, to make sure that they got out of the video what I intended for them to get out of. This page tells about Google Forms and different ways that you can use it. Pretty much, Google Forms is for any time you want to ask some type of question, whether you're trying to make a poll, ask specific questions, give a quiz, have a class evaluation, exit tickets, etc. This page will give you some information about different ways to use Google Forms. Here's how I use Google Forms personally. Again, when I go to Google Forms, I get different templates that I can get started with, or I can start with a blank one and completely make my own. These are questions that I have made for the different videos that I created for the sections in my geometry class. I typed in the Google Forms, and then I can share with my students either through email or through a link that I can post on my website or email the link to them. The students then get their own copy of the questions and can type in their answers. And then when I go to the responses, I can see who responded, what day and time they responded, and what their responses were. I can also create a spreadsheet from all of those responses that I can download to my computer and keep as data for their individual responses. Some other Google apps that I investigated but have not used include Google Sheets, which is a spreadsheet like Excel, but again can be used collaboratively in real time instead of being a file on your own computer. This page will give you information about Google Spreadsheets and how to use them, and the different templates that you can use. These are my Google Sheets that have been shared with me through school, or other ones that I have created to use with the math department. Here you can see the Google Sheet responses that I have made through my Google Forms and the responses that my students gave to those. Google Slides is a presentation forum, but again, can be used collaboratively and is stored in Google. This page will give you lots of information about Google Slides and again show you the different templates that you can use in Google Slides. Book reports, presentations about field trips, science projects, photo albums are just some ideas of how you can use Google Slides. Many conferences that I have attended, people have used Google Slides, and the nice thing is they did not have to have their presentation stored on their computer, but could use any computer because the presentation is stored in the cloud. These are some presentations that were shared with me, and not only could I see the presentation at the conference, but because they shared them with me through Google, I have access to the links within those presentations and all the information and any files that they shared through their presentations. And finally, Google Hangouts. Google Hangouts is a way to have a video or chat conference with other people. You can have up to 25 participants in a video call Google Hangout, or up to 150 people in a chat. There are different ways that you can start a Google Hangout, either through mail, through an app on your toolbar, through your desktop. You can schedule a hangout ahead of time in Calendar and then invite people, and they can attend according to whatever time and date that you have scheduled, or through your mobile device. This page gives a lot of information about how to start a Google Hangout, how to invite people to your Google Hangout, and the necessary things that you need to have in order to host a Google Hangout. I hope this presentation has answered a lot of your questions about Google Apps and how it can be useful for education. As you can see, we have only scratched the surface of the many things that you can do with the apps in Google. If you have more questions, you can go to this page where Google has listed a bunch of common questions and answers to those questions about what exactly are Google Apps for education, how can you get them, how are schools using them, etc. I hope you have enjoyed my presentation today, and I hope I gave you lots of ideas for you to start using Google Apps for education. All the images that I used in my presentation came directly from Google and are the images that they use to represent their different apps. Thank you again for listening to my presentation. And you can use that QR code to access any of the links I have given in this presentation.